You are sitting across from someone. Maybe it is a friend. Maybe it is someone you just met. Maybe it is someone you have known for years. They are talking. You are listening. You are present. You are paying attention. But your eyes are not on theirs. They drift to the table, to the wall behind them, to the space just past their shoulder. And for a second, you catch yourself doing it. You wonder if they noticed. You wonder if they think you are not listening. If they think you do not care. If they are reading your silence as distance. Because from where they are sitting, that is exactly what it looks like. But from where you are sitting, something else is happening entirely. You are not drifting. You are not bored. You are not checked out. You are actually more present than most people in that room. You just cannot hold their gaze. Not because you do not want to, but because something inside you pulls away the moment the connection gets too close. And you have been doing this for so long, you do not even question it anymore. You just assume it is a flaw, a weakness, a gap in your social wiring. But what if it is not? What if the reason you look away has nothing to do with fear? What if it is something far more interesting than that? Stay here for a moment, because what you are about to hear might change the way you see yourself. Most people will tell you that avoiding eye contact means you are shy, or anxious, or insecure, or hiding something. That is the story the world tells. That if you cannot look someone in the eye, something is wrong with you. That confident people hold eye contact. That strong people do not look away. That connection means locking eyes and holding still. And you have heard this your whole life. In classrooms, in job interviews, in conversations where someone tilted their head and said, "Look at me when I am talking to you." So every time you look away, there is a small voice that whispers, "See, you cannot even do the basic thing. You have tried to push through it. You have forced yourself to hold the gaze a little longer, counting the seconds in your head, feeling the strain behind your eyes, telling yourself that if you just hold on a little longer, it will get easier. But it does not get easier. It never gets easier, because the problem was never effort. It was never willpower. It was never about trying harder or being braver. Here is what no one told you. You are not avoiding connection. You are overwhelmed by it. Your eyes do not pull away because you feel nothing. They pull away because you feel too much. When someone looks into your eyes, you do not just see a face. You feel the weight of their attention, their expectation, their presence, their entire emotional state pressing against yours like a hand on your chest. And your system does what it was built to do. It regulates. It steps back, not out of weakness, out of necessity. Because for you, eye contact is not just a social gesture. It is not just a polite thing people do when they talk. It is a full-body experience. And that is not a flaw. That is your nervous system doing exactly what it was designed to do, protecting you from a level of input that most people do not even register. You are not broken. You are calibrated differently. And there is a very big difference between those two things. One of those things tells you that you need to be fixed. The other tells you that you were built for something different. And deep down, you already know which one is true. Let us go deeper for a moment. Think about what actually happens when you make eye contact with someone. On the surface, it looks simple. Two people looking at each other. That is it. But underneath, your brain is doing something extraordinary. It is reading micro-expressions. It is scanning for threat. It is measuring emotional distance. It is processing tone, posture, intention, all at once. All in the span of a single second. For most people, this process runs quietly in the background, like a program they do not even know is open. But for you, it runs in the foreground. Loud, vivid, constant. It demands your full attention. It takes up space in your mind that you did not offer. It fills every corner of your awareness. Every signal is louder. Every shift in their expression carries weight. Every pause between words means something. Every flicker of their eyes tells a story you did not ask to hear. You are not just seeing the person in front of you. You are absorbing them. Their energy, their tension, their sadness, their need, their unspoken words. All of it rushes in through a single glance. And when that absorption gets too heavy, your body does something automatic. It looks away, not because it is shutting down, but because it is recalibrating. It is giving itself permission to breathe. Think of it like this. Imagine you are in a room with the volume turned up to maximum. Every sound is sharp. Every voice is close. Every noise hits your chest like a drumbeat you did not ask for. You would not stay still and power through it. You would cover your ears. You would step outside. You would find silence. That is what your eyes are doing when they pull away from someone's gaze. They are turning the volume down. They are giving your system a moment to process what it just received. This is not a flaw in your wiring. This is a feature. Your nervous system is highly attuned. It picks up on things that others miss. It reads rooms before anyone speaks. It senses shifts in energy that most people walk right past without even noticing. But that level of awareness comes with a cost. You feel more. You process more. You carry more. And sometimes, you need to look away just to stay grounded in your own body. This did not happen overnight. This pattern was built slowly, quietly, layer by layer. Over years of being the one who noticed things no one else did. Over years of feeling the room before you even entered it. Over years of carrying information that no one asked you to carry. Your nervous system learned early that eye contact was not just a glance. It was a door. And every time that door opened, everything came flooding in. So it built a reflex, a pause, a small turning away, a tiny act of self-preservation that no one ever saw. Not to disconnect, but to survive the depth of what you feel. And here is the part no one talks about. The looking away is not the problem. The looking away is what allows you to stay, to keep listening, to keep being there for someone even when the intensity is too much. Without that pause, you would shut down completely. You would leave the conversation. You would disconnect. But you do not. You stay. You just look away for a moment. And then you come back. That is not avoidance. That is endurance. That is presence in its rawest, most honest form. And here is where it gets painful. Because the world does not see what is happening inside you. The world sees someone who will not meet their eyes. And it makes a judgment. A quick one. A quiet one. A final one. They think you are disinterested. Cold. Maybe even rude. A coworker presents an idea in a meeting, and you look down at the table while you listen. They think you are dismissing them. They think you do not value what they are saying. They take your gaze as a verdict. A friend shares something personal over coffee, and your eyes drift to the window. They think you do not care. They think you are already somewhere else in your mind. They stop talking a little sooner than they planned. A date leans in closer, and you look at your hands. They think you are not attracted to them. They think you are already pulling away. They decide not to lean in again. Your mother tells you something important, and your gaze drops to the floor. She pauses. You can feel her waiting. She thinks you are not taking her seriously. She does not say it, but the silence says it for her. And the thing that hurts the most is that the opposite is true. Every single time. You looked away because you cared too much. You looked away because the moment was too real, too raw, too close. You looked away because your body could not hold the weight of what was being shared without needing a moment to breathe. But no one asks why you look away. They just decide what it means. And over time, those decisions start to build a wall between you and the people around you. Not a wall you built, a wall they built, based on something they misunderstood, based on a story they wrote about you without ever asking for the real one. You start noticing the pauses, the slightly shorter replies, the invitations that come less often, the conversations that feel a little more careful, a little more guarded, the warmth that slowly cools without explanation. And you cannot explain it. Because how do you tell someone, I was not ignoring you. I was feeling everything you said so deeply that I had to look away just to stay present. That is not a sentence most people are ready to hear. So you stay quiet, and they stay confused, and the distance grows. Not because of a fight, not because of a betrayal, not because of anything that was said or done, but because of a glance that never happened. A moment of eye contact that your body could not give, even though your heart wanted to. And inside, you carry that. The knowing, the gap between what they saw and what was real. The silent ache of being misread by the people you care about most. You do not correct them. You do not defend yourself. You do not pull them aside and explain. You just hold it, quietly, alone, the way you have always held things. And that weight is heavier than anyone realizes. Because you are not just carrying the misunderstanding. You are carrying the loneliness of being someone whose inside never matches their outside. Someone whose care looks like distance, whose attention looks like absence, whose love looks like silence. And you have been carrying that mismatch for a very long time. So where did this begin? Most likely, it started before you even had the words for it. Maybe you grew up in a home where being watched meant being judged, where eye contact was not a bridge. It was a spotlight, a test, a warning, where someone looking at you too long meant something was about to go wrong. Maybe eye contact in your house came right before criticism, right before correction, right before the words that made you feel small. Or maybe it was quieter than that. Maybe no one was watching at all. Maybe you grew up in a home where feelings were not talked about, where emotions lived under the surface, where you had to read the air just to know if the day was going to be okay. Maybe you were just a child who felt too much, who picked up on tension before it was spoken, who noticed the tightness in a parent's jaw before any words came out, who could feel the shift in a room the moment a door opened or a voice changed by half a tone. And over time, your nervous system learned something simple. Looking into someone's eyes meant opening a channel. And that channel carried everything. Their mood, their disappointment, their expectations, their pain, their unspoken frustration, their silent need for something you could not name but could always feel. So your body learned to regulate the flow, not by shutting down, but by looking away. It was not a conscious choice. It was not something you decided to do one day. It was a survival strategy. Quiet, automatic, invisible to everyone but you. And it worked. It let you stay in the room without being overwhelmed. It let you listen without drowning. It let you care without collapsing under the weight of someone else's world. You were not avoiding people. You were managing a level of sensitivity that no one taught you how to hold. No one gave you a manual for this. No one sat you down and said, "Here is how you feel everything without losing yourself." So your body figured it out on its own, in silence, in the background, without anyone noticing. That is not weakness. That is intelligence. That is a quiet kind of brilliance. Your system found a way to protect you before you even knew you needed protection. And it has been doing it ever since. Quietly, faithfully, without recognition, without thanks, without a single moment of rest. The child who looked away to stay safe became the adult who still does it. Not because the danger is still there, but because the reflex never got the message that it could stop. And that is not your fault. That is just how the body works. It remembers what the mind forgets. It holds on to the patterns that once kept you safe, even when the context has completely changed. It keeps running the old program, long after the original threat has left the room, until someone finally tells it that the room is safe now, that the person sitting across from you is not a threat, that their gaze is not a test, that you are allowed to look and you are allowed to look away. Both are okay. Both are real. Both are you. So here's what you need to hear. And I mean really hear. Not just read. Not just understand. But feel. You are not someone who avoids connection. You are someone who feels connection at a depth that most people will never understand. The fact that you look away does not mean you are closed off. It means you are open. Dangerously, beautifully open. More open than most people will ever allow themselves to be. And your body has been quietly protecting that openness your entire life. Every time you glanced at the floor during a hard conversation, that was not avoidance. That was your system giving you space to feel without breaking. Every time you looked out the window while someone told you something important, that was not disinterest. That was you making room for the weight of their words. Every time you could not hold someone's gaze during a vulnerable moment, that was not fear. That was depth. Pure, unfiltered depth. You do not avoid eye contact because you are weak. You avoid it because you are paying attention to everything else. The tone, the breath, the shift in energy, the thing behind the words that no one else catches. The pause that carries more meaning than the sentence before it. The micro expression that flashes across their face for half a second and tells you everything they are not saying. That is not a deficiency. That is a kind of awareness most people will spend their whole lives never developing. You already have it. You have always had it. You just never had someone tell you that it was something to respect instead of something to fix. Nobody ever looked at you and said, "The way you feel things is rare. Do not lose that." Instead, they told you to make more eye contact, to try harder, to be more like everyone else. But you were never meant to be like everyone else. So let this be that moment. You do not need to train yourself to stare into someone's eyes longer. You do not need to perform presence for the comfort of others. You do not need to change the way your body has learned to keep you safe. You are already present, more than most people will ever be. You just show it differently. And that difference is not something to overcome. It is something to understand, something to honor, something that has been keeping you whole in rooms that could have broken you. And maybe, just maybe, it is the very thing that makes you the kind of person others feel safe around. Because people who feel deeply tend to hold space deeply too, even if they cannot always hold eye contact while they do it. So the next time you catch yourself looking away, instead of correcting it, instead of forcing your eyes back, instead of telling yourself that something is wrong with you, just pause and ask yourself one quiet thing. What am I feeling right now that my body is trying to protect me from? You might be surprised by the answer, and you might finally understand that looking away was never the problem. It was the proof that you were feeling something worth protecting. If something in this video felt familiar, if you have spent years thinking this was a flaw, and today, it felt a little different, leave a quiet comment. Just a word, just a moment, just a small sign that you were here. You do not have to explain yourself. You were seen here, and that is enough. If you want more of this kind of understanding, you know where to find it. Subscribe. Stay close. There is more to uncover, and you deserve to hear it.